Hi everyone, thank you for joining me and welcome to this pick a card. Today I went in a different direction and what we're going to do is a past life regression. Hi everyone. And so it's connected to magic. I want to find out exactly what were you in your past life and exactly what magic is associated with that vibrational imprint. And so we have 3 tarot cards, 3 selves in a box, which is going to identify for you at least 3 personality types that came through for you during the time when you were here before. I have a non-traditional view of past lives, so I don't necessarily think you were a specific person, but for the purpose of this energy, we're going to try to define it as such, but really think broadly and comprehensively about what that can mean for you. The point for this is to identify your own magical strength. Currently, the sun is entering Leo. We're right before the transition between Cancer and Leo, which is right in the opposition of your South Node in Aquarius right now. Now, the South Node is in Aquarius, conjunct Mars, and what that is bringing to the forefront is deep self-awareness of your ancestry, of where you've come from. So no matter what your philosophical or religious perspective is, the energy that you bring into this situation will be shared here today. So I hope you gain benefit from this process. I hope you enjoy this little pick a card. I know it's like somewhat different than what many are like, but I hope you find benefit in it, and I hope it gives you food for thought and things to reflect upon. So, okay, so this is number 1 as usual. This is number 2. This is number 3, and this is number 4. My name is Veroosh. If you don't know me, I do lots of different kinds of readings. I started Pick a Card on YouTube some 3 years ago, and I also do crystal grid. I do meditations, hypnosis, all sorts of energy work. I'm a non-traditional practitioner, and I've been practicing for nearly 30 years. So my whole life has been spent practicing in various different forms. I love meeting new people. I appreciate your guys' comments. That really helps with the channel and the videos, and likes, of course, as well. So nice to meet you, and I hope that you guys find this informative. I hope it helps you grow, and I hope it helps you identify your personal strengths in the areas of magic and energy work. Okay, so thank you so much. Just please encourage each other to give likes and comments. I will close down the comment section while I read, but feel free to leave me a comment. I'll read them after the video. Okay, see you guys in a little bit, and enjoy. Okay, great, you guys. So I'm gonna shove these to the side. Number 3, number 4. And if you guys are wondering what the background is, this is Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh and Piglet looking at a giant fractal into their past lives. So I made this for you guys today, and I thought it was pretty cute because it symbolizes that we all have a history, however we manifest, and we all have things that we are connected to and energies that we represent. And those energies, as far as I can tell, like, I mean, these things change, the awareness changes and all that, but these energies are all interconnected, and there are certain things that bind everything together. I think that after we pass, there's this kind of amalgamous web of energy, and so it's not always so definitive in terms of who we are and what we represent, but there, I think, are connecting pieces, and so today we're looking for those connecting pieces. So I got 3 cards, 3 sets of cards for 3 different personalities you may have been in your past life. Here's number 1. So you had a thinker and the Prince of Wands. So you were a Sag, Leo, or Aries, and you were someone who tried to learn a lot. Now, obviously, literacy was not big until the 20th century around the world, so thinking meant exploring, and I think that you were someone who probably participated in a lot of explorative actions. Like, this is you on a horse trying to explore the world and learn. I think you passed pretty young. I would say probably under 30, maybe even 25, because you kept on pushing the amount of things that you wanted to learn. You kept on trying, putting yourself in peril until such time as you met your end. But I feel as though you had profound thoughts, and people were drawn to you for profound thoughts. And so I think it's your spirit that transcends your life and comes back into this form. Here is the second set of cards. We have the Chameleon, ooh, and then we have the 8 of Wands. So somebody was like Casanova over here. So whoever chose 1, you guys were a charmer. You were a person of many faces, a person who blended well. You could have been in royalty or in some kind of lower gentry in court. Someone who wanted to rise up in terms of their status. That was a big part. And I feel like you wooed people with your tongue. You wooed people with kind words. Maybe all your experiences in the previous life you gathered, and then you knew how to work people. You knew what to say to make them feel a certain way, to be excited about you. So here is the third life that kind of connects to the first choice, the seducer. So whoever chose 1, I wonder how many Scorpios choose 1. Then the tarot card is the 4 of Pentacles. So somebody who had a big financial appetite, someone who whose bottom line was money, no offense, but it looks like everything added up to money. To me, it's starting to look like at some point you were very free, a free person in terms of spirit. But then it's almost like a story is being told, and I didn't know what to expect when I did this, to put this together. And so I feel like you had a very wild spirit. You were very young at a certain point. And then through the process of time and rebirth, something within you was born in terms of wanting to achieve something in terms of class and social status, because I think that you felt like in the world there was no answer for you, because you passed so young. There was a trauma there, and so you had that creative mind, and you were exploring that now within society. And so society means like in courts and stuff with you know, people who owned property and that sort of thing. And so your wonder for the world started switching to wonder for people, and trying to in some way kind of grasp the beauty of the world in front of yourself and position yourself in such a way so that you would shine within it. But I think that by this third lifetime, you somehow became enslaved to the desire to rise up in terms of your hierarchical status. And so I feel like suddenly it seems like that hopefulness got shielded by desire and by some malevolent force. Let's see what the 4 cards are. So this is your activation card. So this is your glyph for today. And you have the release. So I think in this lifetime we're talking about releasing this sudden obsession with rising up in the world. This attribute frees your karma from a cycle of this attribute frees you from a cycle of karma that you agreed to so long ago. As you are released, so now you can release everyone and everything else. So it's time to go back to that free spirit. It's time to unpack that person that was so full of wonder, that kept on running away to think and observe the world, to understand what is beyond the castle, what is beyond the walls of the castle. And you're no longer in danger, so you no longer have to blame yourself. That's what it is. There was a lot of self-blame psychologically in you throughout lifetimes for having endangered your life at a certain point. And I feel like that led to kind of psychic trauma that made you feel that you had to hold on to wealth, gather wealth at all costs. You became... He looks like he's praying to this chest, right? It's almost like nothing else mattered by the third lifetime. It's time to release that energy, and your magic power is spirit and adventure. It's time to connect to that. So these cards represent the chakras. So this is the chakra. So you have the crown chakra, the united. So you were at one with the universe. I just got shivers. You were really connected to the universe, and this tragedy that happened to you so many lifetimes ago separated you from the connection to nature that was so holistic for you. And so you started trying to seek the same feeling in the lives of society and men and money and those kinds of things. And that's why you deteriorated, because only nature could give you that sense of unity. It's only animals. If you don't have a pet, I'm called upon to tell you to get a pet, to get some kind of domesticated animal. I do not support exotics. I feel like exotics should be kept in the wild, but a cat or a dog or an animal that feels comfortable in a human's presence would be a very good therapy tool for your past lives and reconciliation. Here is your next card. This card is associated to the direction of spirit that you're meant to take. So look to the southwest to find excitement. So it's time for you to be excited for the world that is around you. It is time for you to sense wonder and possibility again, and I think that will really allow your mind to think broadly. The last card is a shamanic card, and I love this deck. So we have expression. So I think the things that you are meant to learn in this lifetime, you will eventually express. Observations, maybe you'll write poetry, maybe you will write a book, maybe you will make YouTube videos. But whatever it is, I think that this is your time to let go of the fear. I think that the fear is associated with death, as I said in the beginning, and in some way, because before you didn't have the tools of awareness to understand what that was, you simply kept on running away and hiding. And so that wasn't the right direction. And now, because you know, it's time to release and integrate into that which you were originally, which is an adventurer, someone who perceives the world and learns from it. Okay? So that's really beautiful. So thank you, number ones. Let me know how that worked for you. If you have anything to add, feel free. Because if many of you had this experience, then that means that maybe somehow your energies are interconnected as well. So feel free to share in the comments. Okay, so maybe I'll cover this up so I don't get distracted. So number twos, okay? So number twos, let me know if you chose number 2. Hi guys. And if anybody wants to do time caps, that's really helpful. So first, let's take an assessment of all the different personalities that you were in a past lifetime, okay? So in the first combination, you had the pusher. Ooh, okay, so somebody who was in some way, maybe you were managing a field, or maybe you were managing work of other people. You had a master, but you also were in charge of others. But it was worth it because you had a comfortable family and a comfortable home. So whatever you did to others, you justified for the purpose of your family's fulfillment, happiness, the legacy that you sought for yourself and your loved ones. What you didn't know at the time, because this type of study wasn't as prevalent many thousands years ago or hundreds of years ago, was that the consequences of affecting other people's lives by pushing them beyond their point were racking up karma for you. And so there was this kind of, you were living comfortably at the cost of other people. You kept on pushing to try to get more to satisfy your family, but the consequences of that were suffering of others. Let's take a look at your second lifetime. And there's many more, but these are just suggestions. So you had a playful child. So I think that you were a father, most likely, and you desired very much for your children to be happy. And that desire transcended into the following lifetime and the Princess of Wands. So you were born as a vicarious child. Again, there was no consequence for this pushing that had been done initially to start this life in this direction. You were a playful child. You had a lot of fun. I sense that maybe you had passed away early on for some of you. A playful child, wonderful child. I feel like you never got past the phase of being a child, although there's no indication here of what happened. I feel like you were just enjoying yourself. You were adored by people around you. You looked towards the world. You saw inspiration in the world. Let's take a look at the third lifetime and see what it tells you. So the third one is the intuitive. The awareness of what happened is coming back in the third lifetime. There's an awareness of what you were or who you were and what that meant to you. The Eight of Cups encouraged you to walk away from something like Siddhartha. So Siddhartha left his wealth behind so that he could achieve enlightenment. And you too have this awareness, because I think through you there was this awareness that other people suffer. Remember, human rights is a relatively new term, so to do something like this even 200 years ago was a radical change, a radical move. And so this pushing, there was this awareness that was bothering you karmically for many lifetimes, until you were reborn in this third lifetime as this very sensitive, intuitive, who in some way understood that the things you had were not your own. And so in some way I feel as though you cleared your karma. Overall, I feel as though, not all of it, but significant amounts of it. Overall, I think that you have a very happy vibration, full of joy, happiness. The Father's love that was extended to his children many lifetimes ago is still carried into this lifetime. Your sense of spirit was not diminished by an early death in this case. I can totally sense that. And I think that you self-sacrificed something in a past lifetime in order to reconcile this kind of ignorance that was expressed by a previous incantation or incarnation of yourself. Let's take a look at these next cards. So you have, this is your soul activation card. So you have intuition again. Intuitive intuition. Okay, this activation reawakens your intuition completely. You are one with the divine mind. So I feel like your magical power is that not only of intuition, but connection to the universe, connection to what's good. You have a very firm understanding of what is joyful, pure, and good in life. And you fundamentally understand that when something causes something to lose, there will be a consequence. And you're a person who internalizes the energy of being willing to self-sacrifice from yourself, even if in a past lifetime you have wronged others, in order to balance out the karma, in order to make everything in harmony. So you're a person who's probably not too variant in your karma. It feels like your karma is very, or even your dharma is very kind of gentle. It's not very in heavy flux. You're just kind of observing, very meditative, happy with what the world gives you. There's a deep understanding of love and family that you have as well. Here is your next message. This is your chakra card. And so you have the root. the grounded connection to the universe. And so this is the base of the spine, right? So this is not the sexual organs, this is your roots. I feel as though very little change has to happen in your life in order to continue forward. I feel as though a lot has to do with not uprooting yourself or other people. There's like a real need to stay still and not affect negative consequences onto other people by your actions. I think you intuitively feel that you've learned that lesson through many lifetimes, and maybe this death that happened to you when you were a young child in the second lifetime was the wake-up call. You know, the sacrifice of the child was in some way the child's life reconciled and made your spirit aware that it could no longer sacrifice for itself on the backs of others. So you are this root, the foundation for others, the connection to the universe. Through your intuition, you understand this inherently. The next message is to do with the direction of Earth that is relevant to you. You have the South, the passion. So your connection is that of passion, natural intuition, and connection to what's divine. That fieriness within you continues. And so you are someone who breathes for spirit, you breathe for the sun, you breathe for the wind, and you are excited to be here. And you don't want to, you want to have a gentle footprint, in other words. I can sense that from you. Here is your last card, and this is the card of shaman. And here we go. So you have the card of balance. So your path is associated with intrinsic balance. This is your magic that you bring to the world. And you do this by self-sacrifice. You do this by not affecting other people's karma. Many of you are vegans. Many of you take alternative routes to travel. You know, you're very conscious about the earth. So this is your magic, the intuition of what the universe and the world needs. It transcends lifetimes in your case, and it keeps you very, very grounded to Mother Earth, to Gaia, and all those things. Okay, beautiful. Here, let me play my rattle for you. That's very nice. So number 3s, let's hook this up. Let me know how you like this video. Also, if you're number 2 and you have some other insight that came through while you were looking at this reading, feel free to tell me in the comment below. And this can also mean that you have a parallel path to other people watching the video. So what that means is that you can share with each other insights about the experience that you can identify. So number 3s, let's take a look at your cards. And so number 3 is closely associated. So sorry, I'm channeling. I have the sun in my face, so it's pretty intense right now. So we have 3 piles for number 3 and 3 lifetimes to discuss that lead us to insight about your magic. So your first message is that of the animal. Now, you could have been surrounded by animals, been an animal yourself, but I feel like maybe you were someone who spent a lot of time in the wild, a lot of time with other animals. You didn't think of them as just meat, you thought of them as other beings. You may have even had friends who were animals, such as a wolf or a squirrel or a bird. Here is the next message, the moon. So you may have been a Pisces, highly intuitive, or you may have been a Cancer or any sign, but you had this alternative path. You were a bushman, you were a bushwoman, you were someone who lived in the forest and in the wild. Nobody understood you. You probably looked quite strange. Even depending on when you were born, you were outside of the norm. You were that person who lived outside of the castle. You were that person who lived kind of on their own, and you enjoyed it there. There was not much communication around you. You talked to animals, you heard animals, you talked to the moon. It was all this very, very kind of basic, not basic, but like integrated existence with nature rather with people. Here is your second manifestation, and we have the Shadow King. Ooh. So I think that as you were looking through all this, you came upon an energy. So the Shadow King, in this case, I won't beat around the bush. The Shadow King does represent something that could be difficult. There are realities in the world that are hard to contend with. And I think as you were poking around in the forest, you found a truth that was really, really intense and some kind of ancient energy. Here is the card that came with it, the Seven of Swords. You kept on trying to run from this energy, but it followed you, and you were helpless because you never had that much of a connection to people. You never had a great connection to people. You were great with animals, but now animals betrayed you because you came into the sphere. You went into the forest a little bit too deep, where it was a little bit too dark, and there were energies in it that were ancient and that you weren't expecting. And so forever you were trying to understand and come to terms with what you saw and what was now following you like a cougar. Okay, here is number 3. That's really intense. Here is the next message, the partner. Okay, so coming out of this, you realize that you couldn't be alone. The animals were not going to be sufficient. You were human. And so I think that over this lifetime, you came to realize that you wanted partnership, and you started seeking a loved one or someone who you could trust and who could balance out your energy. The next message is the Ace of Swords. You may have been a poet in this lifetime, or an artist who was, or a musician who was consistently trying to vie for a partner's attention. You wrote many, many poems, or you expressed your love or desire for a partner, your desire for love, companionship. It was like you were calling out in the wild once again to be heard, right? Because you saw something really dark and ancient and evil, and you said, that's enough of this. This is too deep for me. I need to go back to humankind, and I need to have someone who comes with me. So you started crying like a child with this Ace of Swords, crying like a child and hoping that somebody hears you, somebody will take you to where you need to be among humans. Here is the next message. And we have the flow. You are in the flow, moving freely with the current of the energy of love. Whenever you bump up against anything, just let go and allow the flow to carry you onward. So it's like these kinds of things. I feel like this is indicative of what the foreshadow will be. So I feel like your high connection to the animals, and here is your connection to the Shadow King, and this is you coming out of it again and wanting to form a connection. But this looks like two energies, and I feel like you are about to manifest in this lifetime, or in a short time to come, in a future lifetime, a twin flame. So this to me looks like there is like a secret to this. I think that the kingdom of animals is still within you and very much a part of who you are, but I think you're still dealing with the feelings of fear, because energies like Lilith and Eris and really dark energies like this, they're very hard to contend with. People kind of poke at each other and say, oh, you like this kind of practice, this kind of demonology, whatever. But these things are very, very traumatizing if you open yourself up to them. They're not good pursuits, and sometimes people stumble upon them in the middle of the forest while they're connecting to animals and, you know, exploring the natural forces of the earth. Especially many lifetimes ago, there could have been an unforeseen situation that forced you to see this energy and experience this low. But I feel like your calls have been heard, and there is going to be a partner who arrives for you. If they haven't arrived yet in this lifetime, then they will soon. They're on their way. And I think that there's going to be always this feeling that you're running away from something or someone. Like there's a force that is behind you, that sometimes you have strange dreams or recollections and you don't know where they're coming from. But you see, even back then in the second lifetime, you were trying to write it down, except in the third lifetime you were actually able to communicate it outward. So it took that long for you to figure it out. Here is the next message. And so you have the sixth chakra, that of vision, the intuitive. So I feel like you can learn to trust yourself in this lifetime. Your intuition will has taken you through the heights of interconnection with animals. You know how to talk to animals, you know what they're saying to you, but your intuition has also faced you against the shadow in the past lifetime, so you know how to stay away from that now. You don't have to be afraid any longer. And so now you're using your intuition to connect to a partner, to connect to a second half, someone, a human who you can connect with and have that real connection with and understanding. Your direction is east, the potency of a new beginning. For many of you, this partner is going to be a child, right? Because the sun rises in the east. So for many of you, this could be a child. This could be an animal again. So if you get like a little kitten, if you rescue a dog or a cat, that can come through for you, and you can begin that process. So you don't necessarily have to have your own child. Here is the next message. We have children. I love it when it comes like this. So yeah, so children, and all sorts of different children come through who you are. You know the evils of the world, but you also know the innocence of animals, right? So you intrinsically understand this. This is your magic, and this is what you bring to the world. So very beautiful message. And the other big force is that of communication. I wonder how many of you are ruled by Mercury. So either you have planets in Virgo or Gemini, rising sign especially. So let me know if you're ruled by Mercury. That will coincide very strongly with these cards. So very beautiful message. Okay, so last but not least, number 4s. Let me know how you're enjoying this video. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And let me know if you like these alternative kinds of pick a cards. I like doing them. In fact, I was thinking about this. I was a little bit cross about the fact that all these people started doing it and I didn't get the same recognition for starting the video series, but that's okay. But I've realized that for a long time I stopped doing pick a card because there was just not enough exposure, and I couldn't ask some of these questions that I really wanted to do for you guys. And I came to the realization that this is a blessing, because now there are people that are looking for pick a card, and I can do all the different questions that I always wanted. Okay, so number 4. So I just wanted to express my gratitude for that. Okay, so number 4, sorry. Thank you for choosing number 4. Let's look through your lifetimes. So your first lifetime was a teenager, probably not on a skateboard, but maybe, who knows, maybe in the 70s. But I feel like your life was young, you were excited, the world was your oyster. Let's see what happened, because the teenager children cards always worry me. 5 of Cups. So your life was going well as a teenager until such time as you had your heart broken. You lived till old age, but you lived unhappily. So you only had fun in your life or satisfaction until you were maybe 16 or 15. And after that, because of a situation like a parent passing away or something really disappointing happening, a change in your life forced you to live quietly and in quite a lot of sadness and isolation. So you may have actually gotten disfigured as well, which made you kind of fall out of alignment with other people and with society in general. You may be feeling this as I describe it for you, a recollection that this happened at some point in time, in which case let us know that you had this experience. The next message is the skeptic. So you turned against people in your second lifetime. You said, oh, you didn't accept me as I was without parent or looking a certain type of way, and so now I will be criticizing you. I don't believe in anything that you have to offer. What card do you have with that? The Sun. It brought you you were quite successful at being critical of others. I wonder if you are a Gemini or an Aquarius now, but you were quite successful, or a Virgo. You were quite successful at criticizing other people and keeping a barrier between others and yourself, by like almost cutting down society's standards and looking at the way people were and kind of like looking down at them for how stupid they were as groups. because inherently from within your subconscious, from within your karma, you in some way carried forward like you were offended by the betrayal, by the fact that you weren't accepted before. Here is your next message, your third lifetime, the ordinary. Okay, and then you made skincare. No, I'm just kidding. And then we have the Nine of Pentacles. So you were born into affluence the third time through. I think that there will be a little bit of karmic residue to do with snubbery, like snubbing people, because I think that this did not neutralize the experience well. So there could be kickback. But in this third lifetime, you lived a comfortable life. You probably passed in midlife. And I feel as though you were comfortable and satisfied. You know, you enjoyed yourself. You had the things that you need. You probably were from the merchant class, and you had a very, very simple life, possibly in the country. So you pushed away, but I think that this is what needs to be addressed, and this is something that's coming into your life. I think that your magic and understanding is that of discernment. You see what a person's natural quality is. You have like hawk eyes. You have the capability of discern the truth in situations, and you have a real anger towards injustice and unfairness towards people. You sympathize with people who have been wronged, and you get very angry. So one of the practical things you can do in your life to fulfill that is work with the people who are marginalized and actualize through yourself like a more harmonious thing. Acceptance of other people is one of your life lessons, because the skeptic got really good at criticizing other people. And so acceptance and finding happiness through accepting people, even in their shortcomings, will really reconcile that level of karma. Here is your activation card, and we have dance. So dance like a crazy mofo. So life force energy is constantly moving. It is the dance of life that raises our vibration even higher. This strand of DNA engages every cell of your body into the dance of life. So there you go. It doesn't mean that I think you'll be punished, but I think that it's just address these things in your mind, because you have the magic of awareness. You have been hurt in the past life, and that brought you to be flippant or angry at the thing that hurt you. But now you have had a good lifetime with just calmness, and I think that you've had some life fulfillment in the second lifetime, which means that now you can rise above and kind of nurture and bring love to that person that was so rejected, and through that bring love to other people. That is your magic. Here is your chakra. You have the powerful sun. This is the solar plexus, my favorite chakra. We have the sun here. So be true of who you are. You don't need to hide anymore. You don't need to stand to the side hoping that something comes through for you. Disappointed by life's events that haunt you perpetually. You can step into the sunshine and truly enjoy yourself, and without causing cost to other people either. Here is the direction you should be looking to, the southwest, nurturing. So again, very nurturing energy. Nurture yourself, nurture other people. Dance like a fool so that being foolish is okay. Here is the last card for you guys, and we have Ascended Masters. So I feel as though that you are protected and your lifestyle is protected. Whatever happened here was really, really bad. There was like a real rejection and a real disappointment. And so I think that's when the Ascended Masters came in, and that's why you can see your lifetime being blessed. But since your life is blessed, you have to take that as a responsibility and humble yourself to enjoy the life that the Ascended Masters are affording you without the cost of projecting your negative experiences from past lives onto other people. So I feel like you're very much in a blessed position, and through that you radiate through your solar plexus a great power, and I feel like that's a responsibility in and of itself. So So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please check out my other pick of cards as well as my monthly videos, my meditations, and my crystal grids, Reiki, ASMR. Let me know if you have any ideas or suggestions, or if you want to see something else. I do a lot of different things, so when you guys say, hey Veroosh, I want ASMR, then I'll hook you up, okay? So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this.